Hi guys, so I finally have some updates about the house build. I know a lot of you have been asking me, but I wanted to have a couple meetings before I did an update, just so I could give you more than just, this is where I am with my finances. So I'm not going to waffle on, I'm going to go straight into it. I have a lot to tell you, so I don't really know where to start. Okay, I'm going to start with the dates. So like I said, we had a couple meetings with the company that's going to be building the house, and in the first one that we had, the guy was like, are you really set on July as the date, or if we are able to, could we start earlier? And I was like, well, you can definitely start earlier. So essentially, as soon as we get some warmer weather, we're going to start building. So he said even as soon as January, depending on the weather. So obviously, if it's minus temperatures, we're not going to do it. But if it's in the forecast that there's going to be a week of like plus temperatures on the plus, you know what I mean? As long as it's not below freezing, then we're good to go and good to kick off. Now, I'm pretty sure that doesn't mean that it's going to be done by like February, March, but it means that it'll all just get done quicker. So that's all well and good and super exciting, obviously, but it comes with some issues. So money, for example, it's a bit of an issue because whilst I have the money that I need, a lot of it is held up in my company account and I can't just take money out of there to build my house. There's a lot of issues with accounting and things like that. So at the moment, I've got some cash just in my personal savings accounts and stuff. So what we're going to do is use that for now, and then I need to speak to my accountant about the other side of it. But you know, if I have to take out a loan, I'm going to have to do that, because here comes the bad news. The prices of materials have gone up so much. And I think I've mentioned this in previous videos where I've been worried about how that was going to impact the pricing. And it has impacted the pricing quite significantly already, which we'll go through in a second. But essentially all the suppliers are saying from the 10th of January, all the prices are going up again by a minimum of 10%, if not more. So what wasn't in the plan was buying all the materials up front. It is now in the plan. We're basically going to buy as much as we can in the next couple of weeks, which is going to be fun. So essentially all the cash that I have is going to go on buying the materials up front, which wouldn't have been as much of an issue had I not just spent a lot of money on a car. Now, I've said before that I wasn't planning to get a car because it's a very small town and everywhere is walkable distance or cyclable distance. However, having been here for like a month now, I need a car, essentially, because the winter has been so bad already and it's almost impossible to walk because it's so icy. And because of that, it's almost impossible to cycle also. So in order to get anywhere, I need a car. And with things like doctor's appointments, and even if I wanted to like help out my family with like, I don't know, taking my grandma for a doctor's appointment, I just needed a car. So the unfortunate timing was that this happened before these meetings with the company. And I mean, I love my car. I absolutely love it. It's the same car I used to have in London, just in a different color, and obviously with the steering wheel on the other side. But it's an awesome car and I know how to drive it. And it's an automatic car, so there's no manual gears, etc. So that's not really common in Poland, so the prices are a lot higher. So I ended up spending about £7,000 on that car. It is secondhand, just to be clear, I'm not buying new cars ever again. But it was secondhand, it had barely any mileage on it. So really good condition, etc., etc. We've got a guarantee and all of that stuff. But yeah, that's £7,000 that's gone out of the money that we could have used for the materials. But yeah, essentially over the next 2 or 3 weeks, we're going to be buying up all the materials. So yeah, throughout the meeting, he calculated how much we would need of like bricks and steel and wood and cement and whatever else. And now we just need to go and see where we can order some now. I've got about, I think it's about £20,000 in cash now. So that's about 100,000 zloty. So it will be enough for the initial materials that we need, but obviously then it won't be enough for any additional labour. So then I'll just have to get additional money for that. And the other thing to note, the initial stuff has gone up from my initial estimates. Now, the biggest thing for me was the windows. They are beautiful windows, and if you've seen the projects, then you'll know. If you haven't, go watch my earlier videos. But there's a either 4 metre or 4.5 metre window, and it's one of those like slidey door ones, and just that window is like mega expensive. It's like £2,000 just for that window. But yeah, so essentially all the windows in the house are going to cost me about £10,000. Which is a hell of a lot more than I planned to pay for windows, but it's fine. Actually, just to mention that 10 grand includes shutters. So what I'm gonna do is, I don't know if you've ever seen those like outdoor shutters on windows, because obviously I'm gonna have massive windows and it's all ground floor. So firstly, obviously it's complete blackouts in terms of sleeping and things like that. But secondly, they're anti-break-in, so it makes it a lot harder for someone to break in when the shutters are down. Obviously, it's not impossible, but it just kind of deters a bit more than just coming up and smashing a window. Anyway, let's have a look at the numbers now. So this is a new spreadsheet. This kind of breaks it down a little bit more than I've broken it down before. So if we have a look at this one first, you can see here all the costs I've put in both in zloty and in pounds, what I've already paid and then what's still left to pay. And essentially a lot of these are still unknown because obviously the prices might still go up. And this one here of other build costs, so later stages, this is stuff that I'm obviously not gonna have money to pay for currently. And this may vary. So I've put in £24,000. It's a very rough estimate. So again, this could go up, this could go down, etc. But you can see here for materials, it's going to be about £17,500 for the initial materials. So things needed for that initial stage of the foundations, the walls, and the roof and the windows. So those are the materials, and then the windows separately, about £9,000. And then the labour cost is going to be, again, about £9,000. So that's stage one build, which is basically what I just mentioned, that kind of, I don't really know what to call it in English. So if you know, please tell me in the comments below. But it's essentially, like I said, foundations, walls, roof, windows and doors. So I'm not going to go through this line by line. It would be a really boring video. If you want to sort of read through the prices and the amounts, obviously feel free to pause the video and have a look. But the more interesting thing I think is here in terms of what the total cost is and what I've paid already and what there's still to pay. So still to pay is about £94,000, which is about £4,000 more than I expected, which currently isn't the end of the world because, you know, 4,000 is a lot of money, but it's not as much as I expected to be shocked by the additional prices. So this is where I'm like, the sooner I pay for everything, the better. So I've split it into sort of 4 stages of like earlier, like initial ones that I need to pay. So I've still got about £1,500 to pay for the pole removal once they've done that. And then the architect, the water electricity plans. So this is where he has to put in plans of how the water and electricity will all fit in. The labour costs, like I said, the materials, the windows, the plumbing, and this guy who I again don't really know what they're called in English, but it's someone who has the qualifications to come and show them exactly where my land is on the map, where they're allowed to build the house, etc., etc. Who knew that these sorts of costs mattered? But anyway, so about £40,000 initially. And like I said, I've currently got about 20,000 cash in my account, and then the rest is in my company account. Then stage 2, I've put the project management, which is where it's the same guy for us, the architect and the project manager, but after every stage of the build, he has to come and sign it off. So his costs remaining, again, here are about 800. Then those other build costs I've put here, about 24 grand. Again, this could go up or down, no idea. And then everything else essentially. So solar panels, water softener, because the water is terrible here. And then heat pump, fencing, and the inside finish, which I've put essentially for things like furniture. So bathroom, kitchen, all the furniture. I've put about 10 grand in English money. Again, could vary depending on what I choose, but it's all approximate. So in terms of how I'm doing against that goal, I've changed the table slightly. I've just put everything together now, and I've made it 95,000. I know I said 94, but it's better to aim high. So out of that, I've got about 70,200, which obviously includes the money in my company accounts after tax, etc., etc. So cash that I will be eventually able to access. So yeah, 70 grand, which means I'm 74% of the way there, which means I've got about 25,000 more to save. So that's going to be fun, but we'll see how that goes. And then everything else, not much has changed. My investment's currently about 22 grand out of the 100K I've got plans. But like I said, everything's pretty much going into that house build right now because I want to avoid the price increases. So I'm going to leave it there. And if you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. But yeah, it's all very exciting and equally terrifying at the same time. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon. Bye.